right, Red Dot folks, welcome back to Akron's hottest and fastest growing show. 3 3 to go. I'm your host, Hank Forrester, coming to you live from inside the Nest. Is that what it's called?
It is now.
All right, Firestone High School, and we're inside the gymnasium facility right now. We're going to be discussing a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes in regards to how the hodgepodge works in regards to the school funding versus boosters versus donations and how that works. I'm here once again with 330 fan favorite Todd. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Hank. How are you?
Good. Living that COVID dream, as we always say. We've both been vaccinated, so we're free. We're mask free right now. And on top of that, Todd's been on the show a couple times before. If you remember, we did a piece on turning in flags at a flag drop-off location that's over at Resnick. And he's also been part of Your Pizza program for Akron Meals for Kids that took place way back in the very beginning of this pandemic. But right now, thanks for tuning in. And right now, my first question to you is, what do you want to communicate to the public in regards to how this all comes to be in the first place?
Sure. Well, this has been a labor of love from starting with our athletic director, Brian Fuller, Principal Larry Johnson, campus principal Larry Johnson, and a couple others who started this project back in, I want to say 2017, started with the idea of maybe putting together a golf outing, and we were able to accomplish that the next year in 2018. We're currently on our 4th iteration of that, coming up this last week in July. But we sat down originally in the fall of 2018, and we talked about the things that need to happen at Firestone for us to be able to provide better programming, a better opportunity for our kids to compete at a higher level, enhancements to this brand new $55 million school. In the spring of 2019, we got our 501c3, our nonprofit status, and we've been off and running ever since. $125,000 to date has been raised on behalf of our student athletes here at Firestone. And again, it's because of the love of the community, the organization we have here at Firestone, and also our outstanding community partners, Hank.
Right, and just to be clear, it's the Firestone Falcons All Sports Boosters. That's the group.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, for those of you that are part of the Akron clusters and Akron Public Schools, many of you are familiar with this high school, mostly because this is kind of the flagship of the wrestling tournaments that take place in the Akron Public Schools area. One of the main tournaments that goes on is the Build These Memorial Tournament. I happened to wrestle back in the first or second one of these. I wrestled just to do something to stay in shape for soccer when I was a freshman at Hoban, and I remember wrestling in this gym in that tournament. All right.
What was your weight class?
I was a 103 pounder, but I was only like 95 pounds, and I was JV because we had a kid named Mike Kaminsky who was a state champion who would just whip my tail. I was a tackle dummy back then, okay?
Sure.
So I understand this tournament and the way that this tournament has grown up and the significance of this gym and the wrestling that takes place here in this gymnasium. So it's interesting to see all of the other aspects of things I'm not aware of. So why don't we go into some of that in regards to what are some of the improvements that you guys have done?
Absolutely. So this was a blank space when we came in here in 2016. So the old high school was there from 1962, which was behind this current facility right now. From 1962 to 2015 was that time frame for Firestone High School. Came in the new building in 16, and this was just a blank slate. We didn't have anything. I think we had a small American flag up on the wall. Mr. Kenny Deese and his wife Carol said, "We've got to correct that." And since then he has. We have that beautiful American flag offset by honoring our servicemen and women that have come from this high school with our armed services flags. We have the alma mater, which was a new addition this year, which has been great, getting back to history and the way things used to be done, and really tapping into that. Having the alma mater there is really significant for us. We then move on to the high schools. We recognize South High School North, Kenmore, Garfield, Firestone, Ellett, East, Central Howard, and Bookville. We wanted to pay tribute to history here of the City Series when it comes to athletics. The wrestling room, which we'll take a look at here in a minute, is the Deese Family Wrestling Room. Because of the significance in which the Bill Deese Memorial Wrestling Tournament has brought, what people don't understand is a lot of the entry fees of the teams that come here help offset the cost of athletics, where the district athletics gets to a certain point where they can't fund anymore. People like the tournament, Firestone All Sports Boosters, they come in and they bridge those gaps where they may exist. Moving on, we have our beautiful scoreboard that is up there that each of our high schools here in Akron district has. And then recently, as of last week, we added the State of Ohio flag. And we also, and this is really unique, we're very proud of this, we added the old center court from the old Firestone High School from 1962 to 2015. And that's up there as a way to pay tribute to the history of Firestone High School and all the great stuff that took place in that gymnasium.
So somebody had to have the foresight to preserve that thing.
Yes.
Where's it been hiding?
It's been hiding in behind closed doors here for a couple of years, and I'll tell you what, our carpentry department at Akron Public Schools did a fantastic job. They cut it out, they put a backing on it, and were able to adhere it to the wall safely. And we really like to thank our carpentry folks down at APS and Rob Boxler's folks for really putting all these things that you see up. They're the ones that put it all up, and we're very appreciative of their efforts.
All right, I'm going to flip the camera around over this way, and we're going to take a look at this wall right here, and go ahead and tell me what I'm looking at.
Yeah, so what we're looking at, again, we used to have cloth banners that hung from the rafters and all that. What we want to do was move into a more sustainable way of doing things. We just don't throw money at issues. What we want to do is look for the commonalities amongst all the sports teams and see if there's a common need. One of the needs that we saw is honoring our sports teams throughout the years. So we have boys basketball, girls basketball, football, all the 22 different sports that we have here at Firestone, you will see on this wall. We have, I think, about 7 or 8 more that are going up. But again, it's all as money comes in. We don't sit on the money, we spend the money. What's really unique is, one thing I want to point out is boys swimming. How many high schools could say that they have national championships? Well, we have 2 national championships from 2000, 2002 with the 1999 national runner-up. So sustained excellence in that particular program, but as you can see, boys tennis, all sports championships that have been won throughout the years. So we have a rich tradition of athletics here at Firestone High School.
All right, so I'm going to flip around. Let's head on over to the weight room. But before we do that, I'll just show the banner up there. So
that's a way for us to pay tribute to the Deese family and Bill Deese for the years since 1988, the sustainability of that wrestling tournament. It's one of the best wrestling tournaments in the state. We've seen a lot of state championships come out of this tournament here, and it's a way for us to showcase Firestone High School to the rest of the area, and we're excited every year we could do that, so that's pretty cool. What we're going to take a look at right now is the weight room. This weight room, well, we don't call it the weight room, we call it the Falcon Fitness Center. The reason that we do that is we want it to be all-inclusive, our male and female athletes. This got kicked off, well, actually, this is the first thing that we kicked off. We had to show that we could go ahead and get something accomplished. We didn't want to talk about it. We're results-driven and oriented. So what you see here used to be a hodgepodge of equipment. Some of the benches were ripped and torn. It just wasn't a safe area to be in, Hank. And so what we were able to do was, through a beautiful donation from the Firestone Parents and Teachers Association, the PTSA, we were able to get kickstart with $10,000. And what you see, this room right now as it sits represents $35,000 worth of equipment for our student athletes. We always look for those community opportunities and community partners. The city of Akron came through on these mirrors from the old city center. Akron Glass, for example, came in and installed those. Things happen. Wear and tear that takes place. I have a mirror that's down right now. That'll be a call tomorrow. And Akron Glass will go ahead and get this thing back up and make it safe for our student athletes. We just recently added a beautiful great sounding system so that the kids could go ahead and listen to music as they're participating in here and doing strength and conditioning. We have a time clock, which is important for the different repetitions. One thing that we did as Firestone All Sports Boosters too is we invested in our coaches. The way Hank and I used to lift back in the day, and I know you can't probably tell that, but the way we used to lift back in the day is we just got in here and we did squats, or we just jacked some steel around. That's not how it's done in 2021. So we made an investment in our coaches on how do we properly use this and how do we take care of our student athletes to keep them safe. We had a subject matter expert, as a matter of fact, Josh Dickey from Sculpt Fitness came in, gave our coaches a couple hours block of instruction on how to properly use this equipment that you find in here. Interestingly enough, because of the great donations that we've been able to raise and through our fundraising efforts, we have another $5,000 worth of Rogue equipment coming into this place here in the next month or so. So we're spending Ohio money, and we're spending it through an Ohio company as well. So that's another thing that we take into consideration when purchasing things for our athletics is what can we purchase that's made and developed and put out there by Ohio companies.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right, let's head next door.
So we're going to take a look in the Deese Family Wrestling Room. One thing that you'll find that's common here is everything is themed in Falcon. We want to reinforce that to our student athletes, that you are a Firestone Falcon, and what does that look like? So we're constantly trying to reinforcing that through our theming that we have throughout the building here. This is a room where my son had spent a lot of time in. Zane and his peers. Our coach, Jay Tiedemann, is fantastic. He's created a culture of winning in here and accountability and discipline, and that's pretty cool. As you see there, the banner says Firestone Wrestling. Nothing is, everyone should know this quote by now, nothing is given, everything is earned. And that is true in athletics. You got to earn that. You have to go out there and be dedicated to the sport, be dedicated to your coach, your peers, to be able to compete at a high level. What you see against the wall right there are mats from Ohio Youth Wrestling. The Deese family started Ohio Youth Wrestling, and this is the flagship of Ohio Youth Wrestling. This is where the state tournament has taken place over the years, and these mats, we have a couple different mats here that represent what we do here on Sundays for Ohio Youth Wrestling. This section right here that I'm standing on, I probably shouldn't be standing on, is actually a part of the dual mat. And again, through our community partners, we were able to raise $10,000 for this mat, this wrestling mat, for our wrestlers to be able to put out there and be center stage when it comes to wrestling. And that's pretty cool. We're pretty proud of that as well.
I see the dreaded pull-up, chin-up bars over there. You guys, I didn't even see it. I didn't look out of the gym. We used to have a peg wall. Did you have a peg wall or no?
I remember that back in the day. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to take a walk out. Folks, we're going to try and walk down the hallway here. We might lose the signal, and if we do, we apologize for that.
One thing, too, I want to talk about, we realize that we have the ability, because we're organized, we've raised quite a few dollars. But it's not just about what we raise for student athletes here. We've donated money to the theater program, to engineering program. We have a beautiful Firestone that's outside. We want to start a new tradition where the kids could go ahead and paint the rock for anything or the stone for anything that's coming up.
I've seen them painting the rock.
Whether it's baseball, whether it's our state champion, some of our state champion swimmers, they got an opportunity to be out there. The original rock that we had, was done by, the name's escaping me right now. I can picture him. Anyways, he did the initial where it said Firestone High School, and we paid tribute to Dan Speck. He was an amazing man in engineering. He was just an incredible man, and his wife, Carrie, unfortunately passed last year. So we went ahead and he paid tribute to him. And then after that, we lost a young man who, by the way, will be 18 this Friday. We'll have a balloon ceremony here at 6 o'clock to pay tribute to Jaden Shipp. Jaden Shipp was a big part of athletics here. He's just a great kid, the best smile you'd ever see. you've ever seen. So the kids came out and they painted that stone, the original stone that we had. It was done so well, and no one wanted to paint over that because of the love and thought and effort that went into that. So that now is actually at the LeBron James family campus that you have.
At the I Promise School?
Yeah, the I Promise School. So and the compound that they have there for all the activities that take place after school. That's really cool. So they brought a new rock out there, a new stone out there, and what you see out there is tradition. It's going to be a new tradition. I want 1,000 layers of paint on that thing throughout the years. The last thing I would tell you, Hank, that's going to go up here is going to be Jaden Ship. He had a uniform that he wore. It was a game-worn jersey, and that's going to go up here to pay tribute to him.
Probably in that spot right there under the F? Okay.
Absolutely. And then lastly, we also, with monies that were raised and donated, we put a tree out there so his tree could overlook all athletics for Firestone. And it's a maple, so it's going to be as brilliant as his smile was. So it's going to be a really great place for us to go ahead and, as students and as teachers, to go ahead and coaches, to go ahead and once a year remember Jaden and the legacy that he left here at Firestone.
All right, folks, we're going to take a walk into the belly of the building now, and the concrete has a tendency to really smash down cell phone signals. So if we lose the signal, I apologize. We're going to try and get a peek real quick of the Hall of Fame and also the auxiliary gym that's used for practices and other competitions. So
prior to FFASB, Firestone Falcons All Sports Boosters, we did not have a Firestone Athletics Hall of Fame, and that's something that our AD, Brian Fuller, really pushed for, and that's something that we've been able to do, is honor the legacy of some of our best student athletes throughout the years, as a matter of fact, going all the way back to 1962. We're going to have another class that's going to be coming in this year that we're going to identify, and so we're excited about that as well.
I'm just going to show these real quick.
Yeah.
Trying to pan without making people dizzy. All right, so there's your Hall of Fame inductees.
And then over here, Hank, what we do is, these are our $500 donors that we've had here through Firestone. You're going to find Yellow Creek Animal Hospital, Dr. John Owen, Heights Running Company through Coach Ron Hayes, Firestone Wrestling, Firestone, a lot of the associations, sports associations, have put money back into our programs here, which is really cool. So $500, $250. As a matter of fact, those are two auction items that we have a live auction, as a matter of fact, going on right now, a virtual auction culminating down at Lot 15 with a former Firestone grad who owns Lot 15, and we're going to be pulling our numbers there with the grand prize of $2,000 this Friday at 7 o'clock. So really excited about that. You could go ahead and check out our auction items, which the teams have to get the baskets themselves. So all the baskets that you see there were identified by the teams, and we're really excited about what they were able to bring together. So go on there and bid, Firestone Falcons All Sports Boosters on Facebook. And let's go ahead and show you real quick the activity gym. So another nice enhancement is we have two new batting cages that were put up. The beautiful thing about those is they're tall enough, they're wide enough, and they're safe. Safety is a huge concern for us in everything that we do for our student athletes. And that was something that we were able to accomplish, and that is providing them with safe opportunities to be able to be in the batting cages and all. As you take a look over here, this was a blank slate as well when they repainted the building. We wanted to be able to put up the American flag and the state of Ohio flag, and then we have Firestone in the middle. So this is a room that gets used by basketball, volleyball, baseball, softball. It really is a multi-purpose room that gets used quite a bit, and it's a great space. We're very fortunate to have that here. And there's a couple other enhancements that we're going to make as the opportunity presents itself over the next couple of years.
Okay. And then just across the hall and down the way is the pool area, which we covered the pool area in an earlier segment earlier this year, and since we did that, the state championships occurred, and we did have a state champion and a national qualifier.
Johnny Marshall.
Yeah, Johnny. I met Johnny previously to that. So yeah, they have a very successful swimming program here as well.
Rich tradition, and the interesting thing about Johnny is he's a sophomore.
Yeah,
I know. Competing at the very highest levels that you can be.
Right.
And we're excited for him and the maturity that he brings to the program as a sophomore. I think it was best said that, he made the point that, hey, although we're in a pandemic, I'm in control of my body, the way in which I condition, my strength and condition, and put the effort in the pool. And we're very fortunate, I must say, that Akron Public Schools has given us the ability to safely participate in athletics and to be able to be in the pool. And we're very appreciative of that.
Well, and I reported earlier today, there's been some significant changes to not only the CDC guidelines in regards to vaccination and mask wearing today, but as well as with Governor DeWine, they're changing one of the health orders, and it will significantly impact high school sports specifically, because what's happening now is if folks have had their vaccinations and they're fully vaccinated, they will no longer be required to quarantine if they are by chance exposed to somebody with COVID. That makes a big deal in regards to specifically high school sports, because I can give you a specific example, and it took place right here at this school 3 weeks ago, where one of the coaches had to sit out a few days out of school because someone on the team had contracted COVID, and it caused a disruption in the program. And those rules have now changed as of today. So it's a big deal, and a lot of things are changing. We've been through this, as we've been saying, as everybody's been saying, we're in this together, Ohio. And what this video has done is it has just shown you how do these schools handle these things together in their clusters. In other words, it's where the administration is working with concerned parents and groups of boosters, along with folks that are interested in donating and helping that community. And that's what we need more of all across the 330. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'd just like to welcome our new superintendent. We're really excited about that. It's a new day in Akron Public Schools, and as an adult volunteer, I'm really excited about the way ahead and what she's going to bring to APS. And again, we here at Firestone are just very appreciative of the district stepping up, helping us out where need be. Joe Vasilati, Deborah Falk. Again, very appreciative of that. The next thing that we got to do is finish that track outside, and I think we're working towards that right now. And again, FFASB is set up, Firestone Falcons All Sports Boosters, to be able to offset the costs where athletics can, where athletics stops, and where we need to fill gaps. So thank you to our community partners, thank you to the adult volunteers, thank you to the parents, and most importantly, thank you to our student athletes for their contributions and just being good kids all around. We're very fortunate to have great kids.
The school board is really excited today to do that. And then she was really fired up to get started. So I heard her speech.
There's work to be done.
I heard her speech, and she was like, let's go.
There's work to be done.
All right, folks, thank you once again so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. We're going to be live later this week again. I'm covering something on Thursday. I can't remember what it is. But then next week, I'm going to be bringing you a special segment on the Akron Boxing Academy. Hopefully on Tuesday. We had to delay that, but hopefully we'll be back out there next week. And
just a shout out to ABA, Akron Boxing Academy. We have 2 kids that go to Firestone here, Devin Figueroa and Tyshawn Denson, that are in the top 5 or top 10 in the country for amateur boxing through USA Boxing. They just came back. I can't wait for that. You're going to hear about what Coach Tony and Coach James are doing at ABA. You're going to love it. It's going to be good. And that's a story worth telling. So
did I really
those 2 boys?
Did I really just say I can't remember what I'm covering the rest of the week? Duh, it's the NFL draft.
Browns.
Yeah, exactly. Go Browns, folks. Until then, I don't know where I'm going, but there ain't no sense of being late. Everybody out there, say goodnight, Shirley.
Good night, Shirley.